All right, boys and girls, we are on our third and final topic of Unit 2. What that means is we will have one more quiz this week, and then when we get back from break, we'll have a test. Okay, so um, today we are going to go over parallel and perpendicular lines and how the equations of those relate to each other. So then, being that's our last topic, I'll give you a quiz tomorrow. We'll go over the practice problems that I assigned today, and then tomorrow, we'll then after that we'll go take the lesson quiz and kind of work through that together as a group afterwards, and then when we come back from break, we will have a day where we kind of review everything and then have our test. All right. So for the beginning of this lesson, I'm going to inform you. I want you to, when I say to pause and work on something, I really want you to pause and try to work on that question that I'm giving you, and then work it out yourself. Try to figure out the answer, and then press play on the video to see how you did. All right. So we're going to start off with two lines. All right. We got to look at my notes. Okay. So we're going to start out with two lines that are parallel. All righty. I'm going to start right here. Well, I need to figure this thing out because I'm using a stylus. And it's like off just a bit. It's like just off. There we go. Okay, there's my stylus. Mark there. And I have a point there, a point here, point here, point here. It's like I got to touch like just above what I'm trying to do. Okay, so there's a line. And then I'm going to make another one. Let's make it in pink. Great. All right. And as I'm making this line, I'm realizing that they are parallel lines. That's the whole goal here. There we go. All right, so look at these two lines. What are the equations for these lines? Once you have what I'd like you to do is answer what are the equations. So again, we're going to do this in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to have y equals blank x plus blank for the pink one, and then for the purple one, y equals what? Blank x plus blank. All right, so pause right now if you want to look at that. Okay, now that you've come back, we realize, okay, let's look. We go from this point right here for purple, and we start at 2. So our starting point is going to be 2, and we are going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And so our slope is 2. So y equals 2x plus 2. All right, and then for the pink one, we have our y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4 is -4. And our slope, we're going up 2 over 1, up 2. Oh, and our slope is 2x plus. All right, so our equations are y equals 2x plus 2 and y equals 2x minus 4 or plus -4. So parallel lines right here. Okay, let's keep those two in mind. All right, I'm going to reset now. I'm going to have two new lines. I'm going to do two more pink lines. Okay. There. There. Again, I'm going to draw two more parallel lines here. So there's one. Again, I want you to come up with the equation here, y equals blank x plus blank. And then I'm going to have a red line. All right, and again, two lines that, again, are parallel. They'll never cross. And what are their equations? So pause right now, come up with the equations of these two lines. And once you've come up with that, unpause. All right, so if I look at red, I notice that my y-intercept is at -1, and I'm going down 3 over 2. So I'm going -3 halves. And if I come up to the pink one, I am starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at 6. And I'm going down 3 over 2. So again, I'm going -3 over 2. All right, so looking at these parallel lines, you should notice that our y-intercepts are different. But what isn't different in the two examples here? Our first one, we had a slope of 2 for both lines, and here we have a slope of -3 halves for both lines. So that means whenever a line is parallel, they have the same slopes. So parallel lines have the same slopes. They have different y-intercepts, but they have the same slopes. All right, so that's parallel lines. Okay, same slopes. Now, if you're asking, should we take notes on this? I mean, that would be the main thing right there. Probably those two examples on paper, and then explaining two parallel lines have the same slopes, or 3 or 4, 20 parallel lines. All of them will have the same slope. Now, we're going to go in a different direction now. Instead of being parallel, we are going to have perpendicular lines. All right, so I'm going to start off here with this equation, or this line, sorry. And this is going to be perpendicular lines. So that means two lines that are like a cross, all right? They're 90 degrees from each other. All right, so there's my pink line. Let's go green. All right. Okay, and now I'm going to start here with my green one. Go here, go here, go here. So on and so forth. Okay, now I have two perpendicular lines. So again, I want you to come up with the equation for each of these. Y equals blank x plus blank. I'll go back to my pink color and make that y. What the heck? Y equals blank x plus blank. So come up with the equation for both of those and recognize what might be going on. You can pause right now and then come back. Okay, welcome back. Now we have, for the pink one, we start at 3. So we're starting at 3. And what are we doing? We're going down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. All right, so our slope is -1/2 x plus 3. All right. Now if we go to our green one, we are starting at -2. -2. And what are we doing here? We're going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. All right, so we're going up 2 over 1. And yes, it's the same as just 2, but I want you to look at what is going on here. Notice that in our parallel lines, we have the same slopes. What's different between these two equations, though, for perpendicular? Think about it, or pause right now and then think about it. I'm going to give you another example, and let's see if your prediction is correct. All right. So think about what you notice is different here with these two equations, and maybe what's the same. Then let's try another example. All right, I'm going to try another example here. Let's try this. Okay. This one, it might be a little bit more obvious what is happening if you didn't catch it on that first example. All right, so there's our first equation. We'll write y equals blank x plus blank. And now we're going to go into a different line. Let's go red for Christmas or holiday or whatever. Red and green. I don't know why red and green are considered Christmas colors, but if you could let me know, I'd be greatly appreciative. Oh, shoot. All right, so then we're going to have our red. And we're going to make a line that is perpendicular. Come on, stylus. Don't fail me now. All right, there we go. And we're going to have y equals blank x plus blank. All right, so right now I would like you to pause and write down the equations of these two lines. All right, so for the red equation, we are starting at -3. And we are going down 3 over 2. Down 3 over 2. So -3 over 2 is our slope for the red. Now we go to green. All right, for green, we are still at -3 for our y-intercept, but we're going up to over 3. Up to over 3. So we're going up to over 3. All right, so see if what you predicted from the first example of perpendicular lines matches up now again. All right, so you'll notice with these is we have 2/3 for green. So 2/3 for green. And for red, we have -3/2 for our slopes. Before we had, what did we have? Did we have 2 over 1? And then we had -1/2. So notice, with perpendicular lines, we have a positive and a negative. Again, positive and a negative for each of those for the slope. However, our slopes aren't the same. They are actually the reciprocal. So 2/3 turns into 3/2. 2 over 1 turns into 1/2. All right, so whenever we have perpendicular lines, our slopes will go from positive to negative or negative to positive. They'll be opposites, and they will be the reciprocal. Again, reciprocal is just flipping our fraction. So that's why when we have slopes, having that fraction is a good thing, especially if it's like a slope of 3. Well, turn it into 3 over 1, because if we go to a perpendicular line, then you can just say it's 1/3 or -1/3. All right. So that's essentially all we need to know for this section, is that perpendicular lines have the slopes are negative from negative, or opposite from negative to positive, or positive to negative, and the reciprocal. And then for parallel lines, they just have the same slopes. All right. So moving forward, I will have a few questions for you. And again, I'm going to stay on this. So I'm going to do the did you know or do you know how? There's a picture of this on Schoology. And it's numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I will make that known. But I'll go over these questions here on video. So what I'd like you to do is go to that. So I want you to pause the video and then try out those questions yourself. And then, well, actually, no, you know what? We'll just have it. So the video, we're done with the video right now. I want you to try the do you know hows, and then we'll go over those as a group on our Google Meet. All right. So try out the do you know how picture. It's numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. And then we'll go over it as a group.